Welcome to this webinar on managing your career in quality. My name is Gareth Kingston. I'm Head of Professional Development here at the CQI. It's a great attendance so far, and hopefully you'll get some interesting things out of today's webinar. Just to let you know, in terms of my role as Head of Professional Development, I oversee our content team, which produces Quality World, knowledge, articles and video content, our events team, that manages this webinar program, as well as Quality Live, our upcoming event, and the International Quality Awards, and our professional networks team, who manage our branches, special interest groups. And yes, aside from all of that, I've been involved in launching our Quality Careers Hub, our mentoring platform, our CPD recording system, and our e-library. So today, got a session hopefully which will be of good use to you going forward. I'm going to share my screen. I'm joined by Derek Geyer, who will be chipping in later on some of the things that we're going to be talking about. Derek is a chartered member of the CQI. Very glad to have Derek with us. And what we're going to cover today in managing a career in quality, it's not necessarily going to be how to get the job right now, although there will be some elements of that. But it's we're going to start by looking at outcomes from our research into workforce insights we did last year, and some things that you might find useful understanding about trends within the modern quality workforce. We're going to look at owning your career and how you can do that and what that means in practical sense. We're going to look at the CQI's support that you can get from us to achieve what you want within your career. There will be 10 top tips, things that you can start using to strategize and implement and to help you take your career forward in the direction that you want to go. Derek will be, as I said, chipping in throughout, not just at the end, but chipping in throughout with his experiences of some of the things we're talking about. So it's not just me telling you that this stuff is great, but Derek will be able to give you the benefit of his experience. And there will be an opportunity for questions and answers. People will be monitoring. We've got a team monitoring questions and answers that you're putting in. We'll be looking at some of those later. So please do use that question and answer section. So the modern quality workforce. So in 2021 and 2022, we did a piece of research looking at what was happening in the quality workforce, our CQI Workforce Insights research. You can find that on our website if you want to find more about that. But there are a number of things that were relevant to today. Firstly, 2/3 of recruiters cited difficulty in recruiting into quality roles. So this is the current state of play within our profession, is that recruiters are finding it difficult to get the exact people they're looking for, which does present some opportunities to you going forward. Particularly, they were missing specific industry experience. Beyond that, some technical knowledge and experience, but also interpersonal skills. Those were the three big things that recruiters said were missing in the people that they were trying to get into the workforce. Now, knowing that can be advantageous to you going forward. One of the things in terms of industry experience was that there wasn't actually necessarily agreement on what people were thinking about this. In this instance, one of the participants said, industry experience is the most important one to me. So for them, they really wanted, if they were in a specific industry, they wanted people with experience in that industry. Whereas this one said quality is about influencing, changing or maintaining behaviors. You can learn the industry knowledge if you're a good practical person. So what we're seeing, and this is backed up by a third person, interpersonal skills are sometimes even more important than the knowledge. You are seen like the enemy, I suppose, within your organization. That can be the case at times. So if you're not going to be able to interact in a way where they can trust you, you're going to have a tough time. So the picture we got was that, it's not absolutely clear, but there is a trend towards industry experience being less important than your transferable quality knowledge and skills and your interpersonal skills. So what are quality professionals working on at the moment? Well, this is what the respondents told us. Firstly, increasing their technical understanding of their sector or discipline, which is great, getting more and more knowledgeable about the area in which they work, But equal on that was leadership skills, the ability to get stuff done within your organization. Risk management was third, and then we had improvement skills, best operational practice in their sector or discipline. So they want to find out what the best of the rest are doing in their area, assurance skills, and sustainability. So quality professionals are working on upskilling, on building their own personal knowledge and understanding what else is going on out there. And we found out that there were some common barriers to career progression, lack of opportunities, particularly within your own organization. There's not always somewhere to go. So you're faced with a choice of staying or switching streams, switching industry, switching jobs. The perceived importance of industry experience. Employees feel that that might be a barrier to switching to a different industry because they don't have that specific experience. But as we're seeing, recruiters are finding it difficult to get people with specific industry experience. A lack of support and development, that is tricky, particularly if you're not getting that support within your organization, you need to find it elsewhere. And also within your organization, a lack of understanding and appreciation of quality. And that might well be a lack of kind of profile of your area of work. But all of these are seen as barriers to progression and things that you will need to overcome in your career. The key takeaways from this research were that there are skills gaps. Employers are not able to recruit, by and large, people with exactly the profile of skills and experience that they are looking for, which presents opportunities to anybody job hunting, that actually it's about showing that you are the right kind of person, you've got the right kind of experience, and you can fill that role, even if you don't specifically have industry-specific knowledge right now. So as a result, recruiters are increasingly looking for those transferable quality skills over industry experience, because if you can't get somebody with the exact profile, then people who show that they will be able to adapt are the people that are getting recruited. And finally, interpersonal skills are increasingly important. The bedside manner aspect of being a quality professional, the getting things done, working with different departments, that is seen as increasingly important. So those were the outputs of the Workforce Insights research. And now taking it further, this is about you kind of leveraging those things and thinking about how you own your career. And what it boils down to is the concept of professionalism. You are members of a professional body. Professionalism has a number of things that mark you out as opposed to perhaps semi-skilled workers who learn a trade and then effectively repeat their work over and over. It is about competence. It is about you being able to do your job well, but it's about competence plus. So it's also about your behaviors, your ethics. It's about the mindset to which you approach your career and your work, proactivity within that, for example. This is about not waiting to be told to develop things, about taking ownership of your own professional development. And it's that commitment to yourself and to your career to advance your career and your professionalism and your competence. And it's a process. It's not something that happens by accident. It's something that happens deliberately. You have to actively make this happen. So I envisage this like a professional development ecosystem. You need to be aware of the three key components here. So here's your career. You're at the center of it. And the first point is your professional touchstones. What we mean by that is the reliable reference point you have in your career. Now, they can be a professional body, such as a CQI. They can be certain standards, documents, could even be individuals. But these are the things that you trust and you refer to time and time again. They're your go-to sources of information, your definitive guides to the things you need to know about your profession. Then in respect of yourself and your professional development, you have to have a planning process. And that planning process should intersect with your professional touchstones, that you are working on the things related to you that also touch on those professional touchstones. They're reliable. Yeah, so you connect those two areas together. And the third piece is the activities you do to meet those planning requirements. Now, you can undertake activities that fulfill your plan requirements in your CPD, but that don't necessarily interface with your professional touchstones. It could be you need to learn a foreign language in order to be able to work in a particular country. So your planning your activities don't necessarily have to intersect with your professional touchstones, but where you get the greatest value is where your plans, your activities and your professional touchstones intersect. They're going to give you the greatest impact in your professional development. So think in terms of your reliable sources of truth, your planning process on your activities and how they can take you forward in your professional development. Now, in terms of the CQI and the support that we can offer, we do have a number of professional touchstones we hope that people would rely on and utilize. We have at the heart our competence framework, which you hopefully will be familiar with. So the key quality competencies of governance, assurance, improvement, with your professional context wrapping around it, and at the heart, your leadership skills, which enable you to get things done within your organization. That competence framework is our vision of professional competence for the quality profession. I'll just mention in a little while that we are updating that, but at the moment, that is the competence framework as it stands. And very often people use that as a basis for planning their CPD, looking at their governance, improvement, assurance, context, or leadership skills and any gaps and planning accordingly. We also produce policy statements, research reports, such as the Workforce Insights one that I referenced earlier, and other reports. We've got ISO 9001, understanding the standard reports and such things like that. So the CQI aims to provide you with some of these professional touchstones, some of these reliable sources of truth that you can base your professional development on. And coming up, we've got what we're calling the Profession Map, which is the new version of the competence framework. The Profession Map will be fleshing the competence framework out even further to help you identify what you need to do to get to where you want to be. It also introduces some additional things into the mix. We've seen earlier in terms of what people are upskilling themselves on in terms of risk management and sustainability. Things like that are also in the updated Profession Map, and we'll be working on a body of knowledge which will further reinforce the professional touchstone offering that CQI has. Then the second phase is planning, and we have an online CPD planning tool, and that CPD planning tool is based around a plan, do, check, act cycle. So you can see it here. You start by defining your professional development objectives, what you want to achieve and why. You set the start date, the target completion date, and identify the activities that you want to do in order to meet those objectives. You then move into the do phase and you undertake those objectives, and some of those, so take those activities. Some of those activities will be the planned ones, but sometimes you come across opportunities that aren't planned. Nonetheless, they can work towards meeting the objectives you have. In the check section, you reflect on the activities that you've done, and that allows you to assess whether you've achieved what you wanted to achieve, whether there are any gaps that you need to do further work on, whether actually your learning needs are more extensive than you thought, or whether you can tick it as complete. And then the act section is what you do as a result of that. So of course, if you completed your objective, you would mark that as complete. But if you need to refine it and do further work, extend it, you would decide that in the act phase, and you go back to plan, where if you've completed your previous objective, then you replace it with another objective. But otherwise, you start again with the planning phase of actually, okay, to take this objective that I hadn't completed further and take it to completion, this is what I'm going to do. And you just go through that cycle. Now, as a CQI chartered member or fellow, you have to have 3 professional development objectives on the go at any one time. That's part of the requirements of chartered status, but we recommend going through this cycle to anybody because this is an improvement cycle. This is something that will help you become better as a quality professional. We don't mandate what you do, we don't mandate how you do it, but we just want you to take ownership of your professional development, and we think this is a useful way of doing it. And you can record all that in your CPD record in the members area of the CQI website. And I think embracing CPD is so important. A lot of people see it as an intrusive check, but actually this is about you. It's about your professional development. This is something you own rather than something that is done to you. Now we have the Quality Careers Hub that has some planning aspects as well. We'll get onto that shortly. And in the pipeline, we've got a competence self-assessment tool linked to our new profession map. We are going to be bringing in a self-assessment tool that allows you to measure yourself up against the granularity of our competence definition. Now, in terms of the CQI's support in the members area for activities, we have the Quality Careers Hub, which I mentioned. That has a number of things. I'm just going to run through a few things and then I'll let you have a look at it. There are career assessments, e-learning, job search, CV 365, CV builder, interview simulator. There's all sorts of things in there. But now I'm going to stop sharing. So now you should be seeing our members area of our website. So you're logged in and this is your landing page and you can see the Quality Careers Hub here. The first thing it will do when you first get in, well, the first thing it will do will be a GDPR check, because that will make sure that your data is looked after and you'll be reassured of that. But the first thing you get is this Careers Pulse. And I'd encourage you to not just kind of skip past it, but to click Start. And this has a number of questions where you rate your confidence against a number of things. We've got self-awareness, relationships, emotional intelligence, resilience, work life, day-to-day performance, etc. So there's a whole bunch of these things where you rate yourself, and ultimately you can get to view a report, which gives you a score on these things. Now at this point, perhaps if Derek, you want to pop yourself on, you'll be able to comment on some of this. So when you've done these assessments, you see them here, and then you can dig into them a bit deeper. So let's look at work and life. And this has some actions based on your scoring. And then you can go here and get some specific activities to undertake to help you develop your confidence in these areas. And this is across all of those self-assessment areas that we had: self-awareness, relationships, emotional intelligence, personal resilience, all of these things and the things we saw before. Derek, you've used this Career Pulse. How did you find it?
Yeah, I used it. Hello, everyone. So I used the Careers Development Programme as part of one of my CPD tasks in 2022. It's 10 tasks, and each of the tasks have got about 4 or 5 modules within them. And I found it so beneficial to go through, even at the sort of level I'm in within kind of the quality profession and my role at work. I found it beneficial because it takes you through things like, as Gareth said, self-awareness, relationships, emotional intelligence. For me, just to kind of reiterate what Gareth was talking about there, the technical part and any sort of learning that you need to do as part of the quality profession, I think we can learn, and it's something that, you know, we're very good at attending courses and stuff like that. Soft skills are what are more and more required by employers now, and being able to deal with not just the technical part of it, but situations and people, because, you know, in the quality function, and we don't always have people who work directly for us. We obviously will have people working under us and with us that we need to influence. So for me, it's the soft skills. But yeah, it's a huge benefit, the Careers Development Programme. I couldn't promote it enough.
Thank you, Derek. So you can always come back to this. You know, the first time you do it, you work through it, and then you can work on the activities to build your report up. You can get to it from take the Careers Pulse here and assess yourself, or get back to your Careers Pulse report here overall. It gives you the things to focus on, which can be just very helpful, and it's not kind of intrusive or overly demanding, but it gives you a structure for it. We also have the Career Development Programme, which it links to, and career assessments. So all of this is kind of bound together, and you can take all sorts of assessments on things: motivation, workplace culture, personal resilience, etc. Lots of different things there. So that's the self-assessment side of things. There's an intelligent careers quiz as well, which allows you to identify where you want to be going with your career. I won't go all the way through this, but starts looking, knowing why. So asks you a bunch of questions, and then it gives you some recommendations, some steers off the back of that. So that's the self-assessment element of it. A lot of things that help you kind of understand where you are, where you want to be, what sort of soft skills you need to work on. Then there's, in the develop yourself thing, learning modules, which are, there's thousands of CPD activities. Some you can see here are videos, animations, articles, tips. They're grouped, so you've got skills, career things, industry insights, CVs and applications. So lots of tips on specific topics, preparing for interviews, career management, lots, and things that are specific to managers. And you can of course search the things. And if we're to put, let's put diversity in there. I'm not sure what we're going to get, but here we go. So we've got equality and diversity. We've got introduction to equality and diversity, diversity of finance, law, the stuff that may be relevant to work and may just be relevant to your personal life. But there's quite a lot of stuff about understanding the law on a number of these things, and that can influence your practice. So some of these are one-off videos, some of these are longer programs of study. Derek, have you dived into this e-learning section?
Yeah, I have as well. I probably didn't actually realise until you asked me to join, but yeah, there's over 1,100 modules within that that you can access, and looking at the kind of diverse range of all the topics that are in there. There's basically a module or a course to suit anybody's needs and capability. And it's not all kind of work-based, as you said, Gareth. Some of it is kind of personal stuff in there as well. But it's a fabulous resource to tap into. And yeah, I do from time to time, especially at work, if I'm looking at something or I've got a difficulty in a situation, I'll have a look in there, because there's always a kind of module I can refer back to and go through it. So yeah, really good.
So there's a lot of stuff in there that will be directly or indirectly relevant to you. And if you're not job hunting, there's still stuff that is going to help you keep enhancing your career, keep thinking differently, or if you have a problem within the work environment and you want to think of different ways of how to approach it, how to solve it. There's very often something in here about dealing with difficult people or dealing in certain situations. If you've got staff that you line manage, there's all sorts of things in there. So e-learning is a very rich resource, particularly when you've identified some learning needs. You can turn to it, and you can record your favorites, and you can click any progress. If you're doing some of the longer programs within the e-learning, you can record that there and come back to it. There are also some tools which are very useful. So the first thing is, if you don't have a CV, or you want to really improve your CV, there's a CV builder. It will work through building your CV, ask you to complete some sections, and it will just create a CV for you. If you already have a CV, then we have CV 360, where you upload your CV. It will assess it against, well, firstly, it'll look at your grammar. It will look at whether you're covering the things that you should be covering in terms of your professional profile. It will look at whether you're hitting some of the key terms that get picked up in CV assessments. So if I go into it, I haven't actually done the CV assessment myself in this profile, but what it does is it scores your CV. It tells you what you need to improve. You can then re-upload your CV and it will rescore it again. And we've had feedback from a member saying that they've been unable to get job interviews, and then it went through CV 360, and they started getting interviews because their CV was much more focused and much more on point. There is an interview simulator. At the moment, we have a simulation around sustainability in quality, but we could do with doing some more on there. So there's some fairly generic ones which help you practice. You're on camera, it records you, so it helps you to practice being sharp in your answers about yourself. You watch them back, and then somebody gives you some tips, recorded tips on the sorts of things you should be covering in respect to those answers. So it's good in terms of practicing ahead of an interview. If you want the answer to the question of, why should we employ you, it comes down to your elevator pitch. And again, that helps you build a 60-second summary of really impactful descriptions about yourself that you can use when networking or when being interviewed. There's a cover letter builder, which does what it says on the tin, and there's information about assessment centres if you find yourself going to an assessment centre, and you can store all of the documents here. So I don't know if you've used any of those tools, Derek. Not everybody has. Some of those are people use when they're specifically going for particular jobs.
Yep, I have used those. I was trying to actually open up my elevator pitch because I've did that one. So yeah, again, a lot of the stuff that's on here is very reflective. So it can be a tool that you can go to, but for me, it was actually asking myself questions about who I am and about the things that I want to get out of this as well. So the thing I found really good about the modules, Gareth, was that they're bite size, so you can do it in small chunks, and it tracks the progress as well on what you do. So you don't need to think, I've got this massive amount of courses in front of me, I don't know how I'm going to get through them. The way they're kind of created, you can do it at your pace and just knock them off as you go. So it's nicely set up for that.
Yeah, thank you. I've just gone back to the main page, the landing page, because obviously we went into the Careers Pulse. There are a number of quality specific things. We're starting to compile articles and tips and anything that we've had previously from Quality World and bring them into here, so you can start seeing profiles of other quality professionals and learn from them and from their experiences. We're starting to build the quality specific content to add to the more broader soft skills content. And now the final thing here is quality jobs, which replaces our old quality jobs. And this enables you to search not just the jobs that are advertised through CQI, but the Indeed jobs board. So I previously searched for quality manager, and you can see that there are quite a lot of quality manager jobs. You can filter your requirement down to specific location. There's quite a lot of advanced search functionality here, salary, company, industry, etc. But that does give you an idea of what's going on and what you can apply for. So you can tie all of these things up, find the job, then look at the skills requirements, then look at where you might need to work, and it might feed into your CPD plan. You might not be looking for a job right now, but it might give you an indication of where you need to be for your next move. So the jobs tool is good, and equally, if you're an employer, you can advertise through it. So click on that and you'd be able to find a job. So that is Quality Careers Hub. Any further comments on that, Derek, before we move on?
No, all I would probably say is for anybody who hasn't accessed it, spend a bit of time in it, take your time going through it. And I know it's kind of early days, and Gareth spoke about CPD, but everybody who is practitioner or above should be looking at CPD and have obviously that mapped in their personal profile just now. So if you're looking for some activities to think about improving yourself and even down to improving the brand and who you are, have a look at that and basically just add some of those modules onto your CPD. It's a really worthwhile resource to actually go on.
And it is something that is free as part of your CQI membership, so why not dive in? So you should be back on the main presentation. Beyond that, obviously we have the Quality World archive and knowledge articles. They're all in the members area, the website or the website itself. We have a video archive, which is searchable. So lots of webinars on specific topics, which you can search. And we have a mentoring platform that you can access from the landing area of the members area. And that mentoring platform is a little bit like an online dating thing. You have your needs if you want to be mentored, and you match that to a mentor, or if you have skills and knowledge to offer, you put that out there, and you try and find a mentee where your two needs and what you can offer are matched up. And we do have a video in our video archive that goes into a lot of depth on that, so I'm not going to do a walkthrough on that. But Derek, you've used the mentoring platform. Can you give us a sense of your experience and what you got out of it?
Yep. So sorry, I'm laughing, Gareth, because I kind of get the vision of that being a dating website out of my head now. Thanks for that. Yeah. So yeah, I have used it, and I've used it on both sides as a mentee and a mentor. I kind of started my journey with the CQI in 2016 as an affiliate, and then by 17 I moved into practitioner. So by then I kind of knew where I wanted to be and what my career path looked like. I sort of had that mapped out. And what I always wanted to do was I didn't want to do it alone. And what I mean by that is I wanted somebody to be there to make sure that my direction was right. So I joined the mentorship program, and the mentor who helped me with my career development was somebody I knew. So a lot of the thing about a sort of mentor program is you can link with the mentor and you don't really know the person, so you have to build a relationship up with them. For me, that was pretty easy because I knew the person who mentored me. And then with a bit of sort of guidance and a wee bit of sort of gap analysis as to where I was as a practitioner, I applied for my charter status, and I got my charter the year after in 2020. And I firmly believe that I would not be where I am now without the help of the CQI and the mentor program as well. So what did I do after I became chartered? Did I kind of just sit back? The answer to that is no. So I instantly applied to be a mentor to people, and since 2020 I have mentored 3 people in sort of different levels of needs, and a lot of the thing about the mentor program is to find out from the mentees what they want. So within each of the parts, that there's a bit about a SWOT analysis. So they will tell you their strengths, their weaknesses, opportunities and threats to them, and also some goals that they want to achieve as part of the mentoring program or mentoring journey with you. So as I say, I've helped 3. I've got 2 mentees who are on board just now. One of the mentees is actually in Bahrain. So it just shows the sort of international connection that the CQI has. I would not be mentoring somebody the other side of the world if it wasn't on a platform that everybody can access. So one of probably the biggest sort of success things I've had from the mentoring journey that I've had so far was one of my mentees wanted to step up from practitioner to chartered and get some skills about career development. I'm not going to say who it was, but from a bit of encouragement, a bit of support from my side, and it's all for me. It's all about being there as listening, advising, questioning. Always being there for them. They were able to get a new job, become a more senior role within quality, and get a really, really good increase on their salary as part of it as well. So it just goes to show that a bit of support and guidance from somebody really, really helps, and for somebody to put their arm round about them. So yeah, I can't, obviously I can't put it into words how much mentoring has helped me and still helps me as well, because it's not a thing about, I'm the expert and I'm providing everything to the mentee. A lot of the time there's a reverse mentoring as well. So I get a lot of information, I get a lot of knowledge, I get a lot of guidance from the people who I mentor as well, because they give back to me, and it's a two-way thing. And I think it's something that is part of my professional development every year. I will keep doing, and it's something that I think everybody should do. I think when you reach a certain degree or a certain level within any industry, any profession, you're almost the kind of what's seen as the sort of gold standard when it comes to quality. So I think it's only right that we should take a bit of time and give back to those that need a wee bit of guidance. My agreement with my mentees is we meet once a month, and we talk about what we want to do, what the plan is, and we reflect on how their month's been, and then we plan the activities the month after. So mentoring, it's great, from both sides, and I can say that because I've been on both sides of the fence.
Yeah, we get that a lot, that people get a lot from it, both as mentors and mentees, is very successful in that regard. And the other thing, which I think is important, is that this isn't necessarily somebody who's well advanced in their career supporting people who are new to quality. It can, in some instances, be the other way around. It can be that there's a knowledge of a new technology or something that somebody earlier in their career may have, that somebody later in their career may just want to top up their knowledge on. So this can work. If you've got something to offer, there will be somebody who will want that learning, want that development, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a long-term mentoring relationship. It can be a shorter one. It's really about that dialogue between the two and about matching the two people together successfully.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people saying in the chat as well, Gareth, that sharing knowledge and support is very valuable. So they said they're going to have a look at it. So that's great.
It is, and we really encourage that sort of sharing between members. One of the greatest values of being in a professional body like the CQI is the fact that there's 18,000 other people there who you can draw on and liaise with and learn from. So that's really good. So that's a mentoring platform. You can access it directly via the members area of the CQI website. We have an e-library that has, I was going to say, I think it's probably in the millions now in terms of articles, lots of journals that you can draw on. One of the things that you can do in there, as well as journal articles and stuff, there's also industry reports. If you're looking at potentially moving into a new industry, there are reports that can give you the state of the nation in respect to that industry. And there are also company reports that can tell you more about a potential company you might be moving to. There are SWOT analyses of these companies that are very often, their annual reports are up there. So you can use the library to really inform your preparation for a job application or for a job interview, or just simply to enhance your professional development. That if there's something you want to learn about, chances are there's an article or even an ebook on there that you can use. Derek, I think you've used the library yourself.
Yeah. And again, it's not something I dip into all the time, but it's something that there may be a requirement, for something for work or as part of, I'm doing with regards to training or learning, that I'd access the library. Again, as you said, you probably get lost in there. There is a lot of articles, but it's easy to filter out exactly what you want, and it's a good resource.
Excellent. So lots of resources within the members area, but we also have networking. Again, drawing on that expertise within our professional body. We have branches throughout the UK, a few of them internationally. Most of the branches are now doing events online, webinars, so you can, whether you are in the world, you can get the benefit of the activity that they're doing. And those webinars are saved and in the video archive in the members area. Likewise, our special interest groups, which are growing. Some of them are industry specific groups, which is a really good way of pooling some deep expertise and cascading that out, or keeping people abreast of the latest developments within an industry, and working together to drive quality within that industry forward. There are also some special interest groups that are more topic specific, such as our integrated management one, our Deming SIG. We've got a broader audit SIG, for example, who did a great conference last year. So lots of opportunities for networking in people who are more probably in your professional space. We have our LinkedIn groups. We have Quality Connect, which is on our members area of our website. It's not the slickest, but it is also an opportunity for you to chat and liaise with other members. So there are opportunities that we provide that allows you to kind of forge your particular pattern of professional networking. So that's CQI support. Before we move on, are there any other further comments, Derek, that you have about just how the CQI can support you? Because you've used quite a lot.
Yeah, again, it's, as you say, it's free, you know, so when you look at some of even the courses that I see people subscribing to these days, some of the courses are, you know, £30 here, £50 here. Some of the ones, you know, can be really, really expensive for some of these courses. So before you go out and look at an external company or an external, you know, resource to carry out any sort of training or upskilling for yourself, have a look in the careers development part, you know, or have a look in, you know, the whole quality section within the members area. It's just, it's a fantastic resource that you know, will really help you as part of your profession and career development.
Good. Well, we've got 10 top tips which we want to run through, which are just more general about how you can manage your career. And then we'll try and get through as many questions as we can before we hit 1 o'clock. So firstly, the first thing is, it says setting career goals. It might be that you don't have a specific career goal, but you have to have some idea of what you want from your career in mind, whether it is climbing the greasy pole and getting a job at a higher level, or, as has been the case for a number of people since the pandemic, maybe setting a better work-life balance that you want to aim for. It could be even that you're looking to ease down towards retirement or to work fewer days a week, but having that clarity in your mind about what your kind of short and longer term goals are is important in order to manage your career and give you a little bit of impetus and a little bit of structure. The second one is doing that self-assessment, identifying your strengths and weaknesses in terms of particular roles you might want, or your career or your soft skills, identifying any gaps in your knowledge or skills, but also some opportunities you might want to take. That self-assessment, again, is fundamental for the next stage, which is embracing continuing professional development. Don't see it as something that's imposed on you. Don't see it as a requirement on you. Seeing it as something that is about you. The CQI's approach to CPD is person-centered. We don't mandate that you must do governance, you must do assurance, you must do improvement. Do the things that are going to add value to your career and take you forward. Embrace continuing professional development as something that is constructive. You know, we're quality professionals. CPD is about quality improvement, but the quality of your career, quality of your professional practice. So embrace it. It's a good thing. Network, we talked about the networking, the various forms of networking available, but build that network of trusted colleagues, people you can learn from, people you can build professional opportunities from a network. So build your professional network, seek feedback and advice. Now that can be about how you're doing at the moment, your current practice, equally about how do you get to where you want to be. If you've built your network, you will meet people and know people who can steer you as your career develops. So actively seek feedback and advice going forward. This one might make some people recoil, but the idea of personal brand can make people flinch, but actually it's about how you want to be perceived within your company, within your profession. Are you trustworthy? Are you the go-to person? Are you the internal expert? Are you somebody who gets stuff done? Make sure that you don't hide your light under a bushel. Develop that personal brand so that people have the perception of you that you would want them to have. Sometimes you've got to help make that happen by getting yourself out there. And sometimes things like the elevator pitch that we heard Derek has done helps you to articulate your strengths and your perception of yourself. Push beyond your comfort zone. Nobody ever develops if they don't try something new. The worst that can happen is that you fail, but if you can learn from it, you can improve from it. So within your career, don't be afraid to try new things and try different things. In the modern world, you've got to manage your online presence, because recruiters, employers, either your own one or future ones, will check you out on LinkedIn, etc. I make sure that my LinkedIn preferences, my LinkedIn profile is entirely professional. That's where I do my professional networking online. I make sure my Facebook is locked down to friends and it doesn't intersect with my professional life. You know, you want to, again, it's about managing perceptions of you and how you come across and your interactions. So manage that online presence and make sure that anyone checking you out gets the impression of you that you want. Be adaptable, because the world is changing, the quality profession changes. You need to be able to pivot. You need to be prepared to think differently about things, perhaps go in a different direction from how you'd originally planned. So you have to be prepared to be adaptable. And again, quality professionals, probably more than most professionals, are good at adapting. And we saw that during the pandemic. And finally, yeah, it's great to manage your career, but look after yourself. Make sure that you are looking after your own well-being, your own mental health, and that driving your career forward doesn't damage other aspects of your life. Because, you know, it is important. We work to be able to live, yeah, just make sure you keep that right balance. Those are my 10 top tips. Derek, how does that sort of stuff resonate with you?
It does quite a lot, actually. So if I turn the clock back to, as I said, 2015, I was working in project management. What I knew about quality was what I knew about quality. And then 7 years later, I'm now chartered and head of quality within a large construction company. So I think for me, start your quality journey now. And what I mean by that is understand where you're at just now, and then set some goals as to where you want to be. Now, a lot of people in life, you know, are quite happy to get to a position and they're comfortable at that. Some people drive and strive for more. So again, if you don't understand where you want to be, you know, you won't know the tools and everything that you need to obviously get you there. I think CPD was something I even kept back as an affiliate member, and I just thought it was so important to record the interactions I was having and how I was developing myself as a professional. So each January, I spend a bit of time with my CPD, and I map out what I'm going to do that year. And what I do is I regularly update it. So I set a reminder in Outlook, and once a month I go back into my CPD and I update, you know, the things I've been successful in. I attach any evidence to it as well, because I know as part of chartered membership, it's required. I think for practitioner it is as well, Gareth.
No, for practitioner it's advised but not required.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but for chartered membership, I know that you sometimes are asked to provide evidence of it as well, which is I think it's a good thing, you know. And for me, it's an honour to have the letters behind my name for becoming chartered, and I'm happy to support that as well. What I would say is join the mentor scheme. Now, whether it's joining as a mentee or as a mentor, and I think I'll take quite a lot of positivity out of the chat, that a lot of people have said that either they have been a mentor or they have been mentored or they want to get involved. So that's really positive. And I think the final thing I would say is you only get out your career what you put into it. So if you just want to live, or if you just want to get by and you know, not develop yourself, that's perfectly fine. You know, there's no need or strive to you know, improve yourself. As I said, everybody, you know, sets at a level or gets to a level and they're happy with. But if you want to get more out of your professional career, you know, have a look at the resources that are in there. You know, get somebody to put their arm around your shoulder and help you and guide you to where you need to be. So yeah, just probably kind of self-explanatory tips, Gareth, but certainly for me, you know, things that I would take on board and doing that work for me.
Yeah, I think, you know, everybody has to find their own way and what works for them. And I think having access to resources allows you to find what works for you. The key thing for me is that this is an active thing, not a passive thing. If you're managing your career, and managing anything is an active process. So manage your career, otherwise it will happen to you and it won't necessarily be the career you want. We got some questions. Let me stop share. Well, actually, yeah, stop sharing for now. And if I bring up, there's been some things put in the Q&A. Emily says, is anyone finding you can't move jobs without health and safety experience your current employer doesn't need, but you're going to need it? So it's a bit of a catch-22. I don't know the answer to that. It'd be interesting to see if other people have got experience on that one. Mohammed is saying, when is the competent self-assessment tool expected to be available? We're looking at some point this summer. We're looking to launch the profession map in June, and hoping to launch the self-assessment not long after, as well as a new suite of online learning, which will encompass some more quality-specific e-learning. So look out for notifications on that going forward. Duncan says, a lot was highlighted about the importance of industry experience and transferable knowledge in quality to support career progression. However, there didn't appear to be any mention of academic qualifications. Are qualifications therefore assumed to be not as important for a career in quality as opposed to industry experience, or do you assume that relevant qualifications are held already? It's certainly that they're not. It's not that they're not important for a career. If you have qualifications and there's some great options out there, then brilliant, because any sort of additional knowledge that you have and experience that comes through doing qualification is great and relevant. I think it's more that the quality profession, often people find their way into the quality profession having done something else, not via a qualifications route. So they're learning very often on the job or more from a CPD basis. But obviously qualifications can get you where you need to be, but I'm not sure how many employers have qualifications requirements. I don't know, Derek, if you've got any experience of people asking for qualifications.
I think qualifications, as I said before, is something that's probably, you know, taken for granted that you have the qualifications part on that. So yeah, not really, Gareth.
Yeah, so quality specific qualifications, some relatively thin on the ground at the moment. Other qualifications, degrees, etc., quite often required. Devindra says, will the interview simulator be country or culture specific? They are, I would say, more generic. Certainly the sustainability one we've done, sustainability and quality, is generic. It's not country specific. Haven't done all of the interview simulators. Most of them are relatively generic. They might be industry specific rather than country specific. Muralidaran says, e-learning available on the CQI website, does it account for CPD? CQI doesn't require points or hours in the same way. It's about making sure you are meeting your personal requirements. But you can use it, you can record it within your CPD record as valid activity. And you can export your CPD record should you record it elsewhere for another professional body. Benson wants to upgrade ASAP. Can you get step-by-step on what to do? There will be a video in the members area on that. Search in the video archive. Raymond, if we complete training via CQI/Abasi, will this be automatically added into CPD record system? No, you have to manually add in your CPD activities at the moment. We don't have a fully automated system, but it is something that we would love to do if we can get the software that will tie in our e-learning, our quality world and everything else and just automatically record it. But at the moment, because it's based on you setting an objective and identifying the activities that you need to do to meet the objectives, we don't just have a system that drops in all activities that you've done, but something we're looking at doing. Zamir, to challenge our skills test exams can help us. Do you have this? E.g., I was recently preparing for an online test for ISO 14001. Only a sample paper appearing, which didn't help much for online IRCA exam. We have recently introduced e-assessment, online assessments for IRCA, but I don't think we have any practice exams that you can do at the moment. That's slightly separate, unless you are enrolled in a course and therefore enrolled on the exams. I think there might be one that gets you used to that format, but not for anybody who's not enrolled on an IRCA course. Are there any specific tips for freelance quality experts? As I'm not in a corporate structure, I have to organize my own career without outside help from an employer. Derek, I'll come to you in a second. My view on this is that it really comes down to making sure you've got that understanding of what you want to do, what you're having undertaken your self-assessment, identify gaps, identifying how you get to where you need to be. If you're managing a business, if you're a freelancer, as well as being able to do the quality stuff. So you've got additional requirements on you in terms of being successful there. You've got to know how to market yourself. You've got to know how to do all the financial side and record keeping, and you've got to be able to advise clients. So you need that planning structure to be able to keep on top of all of those things. But Derek, have you got any insights on that?
Yeah. I guess with that one, if you are working for yourself, it's about, what you said, Gareth, about marketing yourself and basically promoting yourself as a business. But then understanding it's maybe, and I kind of do this all the time when I look at even projects in my work. I'm kind of doing a little gap analysis and where you think you are and where you think you need to be. And that could be professionally with regards to, maybe upskilling yourself in some specific qualifications. And it's maybe even referring back to the resources that are in the CQI, for some of the sort of softer skills. But yeah, it is not everybody is kind of blessed to work for a company. There's a lot of people out there who are freelance, and I guess it is a wee bit more challenging because they don't have the sort of corporate backing of that.
Yeah, and again, for your membership CQI, you've got a lot of resource that can step in there. But equally, tell us if there's stuff that would be really helpful that we could offer that we don't, particularly as we move into launching more and more e-learning. Just before we finish, one final set of questions, which are about regrading. Is a principal grade comparable to chartered practitioner? Can you transition from lead auditor QMS? I would say in terms of the lead auditor QMS to EOMS, talk to our member journey team. They'll be able to advise on that. Principal grade, you could switch to practitioner because of the qualification you have. It is not entirely comparable, but equally the experience you'll have got from a principal grade may well be applicable to your chartered member application. So before we go, firstly, I want to say thank you to Derek for coming on and sharing his experience. It's been really helpful and great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and don't forget, before you leave, you'll be asked to give feedback. We want to know what you've thought about today's session. If you could complete the survey, that would really help. We've got a couple other things. Quality Live, our conference, is coming up in June. If you want to attend in person or remotely, you can now buy tickets. The information is down there, quality.org/QW23. We're going to be live streaming as much of it as possible. We'll also be incorporating the International Quality Awards, so you'll be able to find out who the best of the best are in 2023. Lots of opportunities for networking, lots of opportunities for professional development. That's coming up and is going to be huge. And also, I'm going the wrong way. And don't forget that part of your professional development can be upgrading. And we have a fellow grade here. If you've been a charter member for over 2 years, you have the opportunity to try and demonstrate your impact on the profession, your contribution to the profession, and upgrade to fellow. And if you want to learn more about that, the address is on there, bit.ly/fellowgrade, or you can contact our membership team at membership@quality.org. So that is it from my side of things. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you for your questions. Yeah, if you have any questions about the Quality Careers Hub or anything else you've heard today, and we didn't cover it here, email me at gkingston@quality.org and I'll see what I can do about responding to you. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and we will see you again at the next webinar. Goodbye.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.